All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the NSL Live Talk and with the same panel as almost the same panel as we had it in the last times when we talked about the NSL Cloud Mondial. We have on the top left David Grauwels, who is back. Thanks, David. And Joey Jones on the bottom. And we are missing Mr. Gary Schmidty Smith. He is unfortunately not available today. He has some other family commitments, and hopefully we have him back later again. Because we have another competition coming up very soon, and as you may see, my backdrop has changed. It's not only more
Skydive Arizona.
Yeah, it's not a wine rack and with empty bottles and stuff and that stuff any longer. It is Skydive Arizona, and they are busy. We may see some people, moving back and forth here in the back, including airspeed, because if you see their team room is actually, I think, right there. So, yep. And they are in training. So we may, they may stop by here on the way to picking up the gear, and so we're not going to bother them. They are actually quite focused on the competition practice.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about this a little bit too, but our main topic at this point is still the Cloud Mondial, because we have all videos finally. Just before we get to that, David, how many times have you been in Eloy?
I think 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah,
okay.
I think 3 times. 4 times already in 1999 even. Yeah, 4 times.
99? What did you do here in 99?
I had a skydiving vacation with my father when I was 19, when I was still going to school. And yeah, I almost got sacked on school because I did that. I still had it was Easter holidays. I did 2 weeks of Easter holiday and also 1 week of when I still had to go to school. So in total of 3 weeks, and I skipped school for 1 week, and they found out. I mean, I was lying about it, and then they found out, and then I was almost getting thrown away from school. But I didn't care because I knew that my profession was going to be skydiving anyway. So, but yeah, that was the first time that actually I went to Eloy, 1999.
And Alex was jumping by then.
Yes. We did some jumps together. Me, my father, and also my uncle, Mark.
Not Andy.
No, Andy. I think only started in the year 2000.
Oh, okay.
He was young, huh?
Joey, how many times were you in Eloy?
My first trip to Eloy was for the 1993 World Championships. I was helping out as a volunteer. I was 23 years old, and a couple thousand jumps. And during did some load organizing, and I was also volunteering. It was kind of if you volunteered, then you got the free jumps and could load organize a little bit. So I did 3 days of volunteering.
I competed at that
job, working right behind you as the chief instructor there at the school, running the school. And that was probably when I really decided I wanted to focus on 4-way. I was AFF, tandem, rigger, video. I'd been doing the student thing, traveling around America, working as just a skydiver, bum tandem master, AFF jump master. And I saw those airspeed guys jumping for free and getting all the girls, and I was like, damn, I want to do that shit right there. I want to do what those guys are doing. I'm over here getting thrown up on by tandem students, and I'm watching these guys do back-to-backs, and I'm like, this is bullshit. And yeah, it was right there, right behind you. It was about a bazillion years ago, and I thought, I want to do what those guys are doing. So it's kind of nice to see and sit here now and reminisce about. I lived in Arizona twice, and I've been there. I mean, I lived down that drop zone for months.
And eventually you did the same.
Yes, I did summers there. I know what it's like. But yeah, I mean, a great drop zone. It's so nice to see the blue skies and, remember all those good times there.
No back-to-backs today for airspeed. They are practicing competition.
Good.
Environment. So they're taking their time. We know let's maybe we can just throw this in quickly. Now, when you are David, Hayabusa competition practice, how is it? Are you sometimes simulating a real competition and you don't go back to back and you just do like one jump an hour or so?
No, I mean, throughout the years we developed a little bit our own system. I think but that already developed again. But we used to train like 12 jumps a day, and then the closer we came to a competition, I'm thinking, let's say next week is the Mondial, then we take a week off, and then you travel, you have a day off to see town, to get used to the environment, and then slowly by slowly you do, like, for example, you do 8 jumps, 4 jumps, 2 jump, and then eventually the championship will start. And in a training, or when it's, for example, a local competition like now, we trained, but not more than 8 jumps in a day. 8, and then the closer you came, you always like decrease your amount of jumping, so that the moment that when you want to start, that you're still fresh in your mind, fresh in your body, and also ready to be eager and attacking the meet. That's actually what you want to gain, and not that you want to start the meet and eventually you just went over your hill, your top peak already. That's something you really need to avoid. So planning is very crucial when you start a meet.
Joey?
The one thing that I really recommend teams do is to get away from the back-to-backs and the repeats of jumps, to really get like, look, you got one shot at it, we ain't doing it again, and to try to incorporate that a little bit earlier in training, just to get the mindset, because we do so many back-to-backs. We use the repeats not only to facilitate locking in fixes and changes, but also it helps for the ability to jump a little bit faster mentally. But when competition comes around, it's like you don't get a second chance, you get one shot. So I try to incorporate that a little bit earlier with a lot of my teams, and so we also use that technique just to get the mindset around, this is it. If it's not good, tough shit, we're doing another skydive, and we can work on it after the competition. But that take your lumps, and just this is how it is. So that's something just to add to what Dave said. But Dave's spot on with all that stuff that he talked about there. But it's just another point for teams out there to think about as they come up to competition.
I'll speak with Jesper probably later today about this, because it's also a very interesting topic, actually. Now the difference between normal training and competition practice. So they will hopefully have some time later. Actually, they're coming now around the corner here for a few for the next training round. But we want to talk about airspeed at the Cloud Mondial and the other teams at the Cloud Mondial. It will probably be our last Joey Marshall walking by there on the way coming there. It will probably be our last debriefing of the Cloud
New
Mondial.
guys carry. I see the new guys are carrying the rigs back to the hangar for Nicholas, probably,
Nicholas is just picking it up there.
Exactly. Bitch, go get my rig.
No, they're just being nice. They're very nice guys. New guys. I don't know if they have a hierarchy like that. Probably not. Come on.
It was funny. Come on, it's a joke. Kind of.
Nice coincidence, though, that it happened right now. Actually, that's Christopher, the other new guy. So they're in the middle of it.
Nice.
Okay, let's go back to the Cloud Mondial. We've seen now all rounds, even though we're still missing the scores for rhythm in the remaining 3 rounds, which was 4, 7, 8 or something. I don't know exactly. But we have the videos, and I'm sure you have already checked it with your stopwatches.
Yes. What did you get, Dave?
Well, I have on round 4, I actually scored them 24. And then on round 7, I had a
24. You got that one in, huh?
Yep. But
it was on the time.
On round 7, I got that one out. I think it was only 26. Yeah. And then round 8, I had a 19. Yeah. But maybe with a possible bust.
Yeah, and I think I went 23 on that one. I didn't get it in. It was like 35:04 or something, 03. So we'll have to see what end time says
Yes.
on the 10 jump. But I got the same scores as you. The 26, which was close to 27, it was on the timeline, and then the 19 on round 8. So.
All right. Well, let's look at some of the what do we want to look at? So
Well,
the new ones, of course.
I think
Pardon
you
me?
better start with round 4.
Yeah, just start in order.
Okay, so round 4, we have seen already Hayabusa airspeed, and we can compare it now. So let's look at rhythm in round 4, as you say, and then that is already, that is not judged yet. So that's where we have only our stopwatches with David at 24 and Joey at 23.
Yeah.
I kind of timed it a few times, and I probably could have got it in, but I figured when we timed the last rounds, in time got one less than we all got as coaches. So I kind of went with the in time timing and figured I'd go with the lower score, so I wasn't wrong again. Because all of us we had one round on the in time where we scored it higher, and in time came back lower. So I think they're a little tighter on exit on the starting the clock. Anyway.
I think if they keyed the 10 out of the door a touch quicker, they would have scored 24 for sure.
Yes, yeah. It was a pretty good jump. I liked the engineering.
Yeah.
That they took on the quickie with I like that.
Yeah. But then still the 10s over rotated a little bit.
Oh God, yes. It's hard to watch. Really. I'm like, I don't want to get into it. If they want to coach, they can get one. But yes, they're over rotating.
Yeah, I think the front piece in the front is doing a little less than 180, and then the back piece is over rotating 360.
Yeah.
So it makes it more slower, of course.
There's a desire to give that leg too much, and that anchors and it stops the front from coming around. But and I thought there's some communication stuff on the 9s. And I didn't like the fact that the tail was passing the grip and then getting I know we always talk about getting your flying grip first and then touching the second grip. But if you're passing it, I probably would have picked it up on the way in because he was going to his flying grip and coming back and touching and going. I mean, on a 18 average team and below, I probably would coach that. But if you want to do a 25 plus average, I think you need to be taking the grips as they come. You can't start. I don't know, Dave, what do you think on that?
No, I think you're totally right, and I see Doug some hesitating before his start, and I think his move of the 10 is awesome. There's nothing wrong with that back piece, but I think the 10 start, and eventually, of course, the arrival 10 is killing them a little bit. Although they score on that round equally, or maybe 1 point
maybe even
more
better.
than,
You got them as better. So
it's an okay round for them, I think, but still. If they need to shave a little bit off the sharp edges, and then that would be more than fine. Because at 10, the back piece looks really good, I have to say.
So at 24 would actually outscore airspeed with after penalty and tie no, we would be still 2 points behind.
2 points shy, yeah.
And the Qatar Tigers would be close with a 23. Interestingly. So let's go to the next one. Is that you want to do that? Go to round 7 now.
Round 7.
Let's do that. Here's round 7 of rhythm.
Oh, Oops, where am I at? There you are.
Sorry, I didn't get that, Joey.
No, I was just look. Yeah, the 17 jump with the 1s. Just refreshing me what the rounds were because we're a little bit out of order, and I've been looking at so many videos.
Yeah. Yeah, this is round 7.
If I go first, I think 17 out of the door, great. Going into A slot, good page, and then the B slot 17 hops, like the hops of the 17 and B slot. That's not good. That's too small. That's something they really need to work on because that's not compatible for sure.
No, I agree with Dave. There's a lot of like the coming up and then flying over and coming back down, and you need to be. Yeah. I mean, it just a little more hungry on that. I think there's a little bit of maybe some fall rate issues going on there. It's from what I saw. It's just. I mean, it's obviously it's not their standard. The A17. I think it's new slots and all that. But yeah, that's something that needs to be needs to be beat up in the tunnel and just really drilled at custom.
Yeah, and then I think the ones are also a little bit on the slower side. I think if you would like to compare, I mean, I compared it now with Hayabusa, and they were about 0.3 tenths of a second, so 3/10 of a second slower every time when they do the one. That's S in A slot and in B slot, and their A slot is better than the B slot, but still 3/10 every time again. If you do 4 pages, that's almost like that's more than a second. So yeah, I think these two blocks are really they need to get their head back in the game to become better on those.
All right, let's compare. Let's look at the scores here. You had, what did you have for them on this round?
26.
26, which would, the Tigers would match that again, and it would beat Airspeed by, oh no, Airspeed had a 28, right? So
Yeah.
that would be behind Airspeed and tied with the Tigers. And no, so after you debriefing, no big surprise, because you know, you mentioned that they are in the blocks, they are a little bit behind the power curve. So let's go to round 8 then.
Round 8, yeah.
And
8Q12.
which is again a technical sequence, right?
Yeah, not easy for nobody. You can tell. I mean,
And it's all happening in Sebastian. We see that. That's
Yeah.
where they have been training. And in fact, they are training there until Thursday, until today. And I think they're traveling tomorrow to come here.
Yeah, I mean that round looked really rough for them. The eight out the door, they struggled with that. You can see there's some holes in the game on some of these blocks here that came out. That's a nice way to put it, really.
Well, there are two things that struck me. Is actually when Doug leaves the plane as a tail, I think he's a little bit too aggressive, wanting to go underneath Christie, and then eventually he ends up way too straight. So it makes his work way much more difficult to actually go back up and that cat rotating. So the start of the tail actually going around, I do not want to be in this place because it's super hard, and you can see it tells. And then a little bit later, I think the 8 in the in free fall, I think whenever Chrissy rotates her head, like when she shifts her visual so quickly, so aggressive, then the cat also spins out of its place, and then so the cat is all over the place at a certain moment. And then I busted them, or like pretty close on a bust, because I do not see a full separation. Is actually on the arrival of an 8, of an arrival of a 12, wanting to go to an 8. There is not a complete separation. It's more like almost like a grip switch. And yeah, I mean, we are all professionals. You should be a little bit better in your separation for that. Tricky for me.
You see that the same, Joey?
Yeah, no, I mean they struggled with the 8s. Yeah, that early head switch really rendered. I mean, a little bit individual of a head switch where your body rotates on its center axis instead of around the piece really renders the tail almost helpless. And he's the one with the booties and the power, and it just they need to work on that piece. Like I said, it just showed some weakness in the game there, and out the door I was just trying to hold the levels because that piece coming down, it was a rough jump for him. You know, I think they've got some of these more technical blocks they definitely need to take back to the drawing board and get some reps on for sure. But they still showed some pace in some of the randoms, and you know they're all fixes that can be done. So I'm curious to finish this. So it's not like we're going to see a different team at this competition, but you never know. It'd be nice if they had a few months to go back to the drawing boards and work this stuff out. But we'll see what happens in a couple of days.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think it's quite easily to fix them, and I think the next meet now in a few days is actually coming a little bit too soon for them. I'm just hoping that they will not get punished, and then eventually your morale goes so much down. So eventually, I hope for them that they keep it a little bit as a growing into their top performance a little bit, like over the few months. But I think this meet is coming a little bit too soon as well.
Totally.
That was nicely said. Let's look at the scoreboard again. What did you have for rhythm in round 8?
19. Airspeed by 11 after 11 rounds.
Now, what was your score for round 8?
19.
19. Which is actually still very close, even though there's technical work, 1 point behind Hayabusa, 2 behind Airspeed, 1 up on the Kata Tigers. I'm kind of impressed by the Tigers in those rounds, because they are actually, absolutely in medal range if they can. I mean, they had the littlest training of all the teams, and they are, just a point per round behind rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think they can easily match some of our rounds. I think the biggest gap is whenever there is a fast round coming up, that's when they lose the touch with the top.
The Tigers.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, back one thing on that last round, you talked about 19 to 20. I mean, the time from point 19 to point 20, it's a whole block 12. So it's a big point. If one team scores 19, one team scores 20, it's a pretty big 1 point. It's a moral victory to close that 12. And then to get into the top of the next random really is one of the higher end scores for all those teams. So while it might only be 1 point, it's a big 1 point.
Yeah, there might be a little bit like over 2.5 seconds in between.
Exactly. So. Yeah, Dave's got the time nailed. So yeah, it's like sometimes people are like, yeah, I was only 1 point behind. I'm like, yeah, sure. But on the fast round, you're going to be 5 behind. And that's, and then on to the Tigers. I agree with Dave. I mean, they've got they're small, they're fast. They really, when they put it together, it's really impressive to watch. But something happens sometimes, especially if you get a double slot switcher and some fast randoms. I just think I don't know what they need to do or exactly. I'm not in the camp, but if you get that wrong combination, it exposes weakness in their game, and that's what a top level trained team is. They've filled all the holes, so no matter how the draw throws the trickiness at them, they can handle it. And sometimes Qatar just shows that you can. There's a weakness in the game, and the draw can catch them.
So that in that case, a very long time together could even be counterproductive, because they're so used to a certain system.
I think as long as they listen to the coach and believe in what he says, they can get away with it. But if one of the 4 or all of the 4 starts doubting, then it's very hard. You can be the best coach in the world, but if you're not standing by him, you're making yourself very difficult, and it doesn't help for the progression. So I hope they still believe in Gary, because I think he's one of the top coaches in the world. And but yeah, you just have to commit, and I hope they still commit as much as possible. So, but it is possible. It is possible to change, but you just have to believe that you wanna follow his lead, and not only think about your own stubbornness and think that you are better than what he says, or that your work is better than what he wants to show you. So you need to follow his guideline, and I truly hope that they will do that, and then
it's a chance of a lifetime for them. The medal position for the Qatar forward team has never been closer as it's going to be this year, right? With France pretty much ignoring forward.
The chance of a lifetime, man. You just have to seize it. You have to grab it. It's not for everybody to take, but you need to be able to work hard for it. So it doesn't come for free.
No. Yeah, I don't see France on the podium. I don't think they have with no 4-way training and the history that they've showed recently. For sure, there's you've got an opening there for the bronze and
yeah.
I mean, the bronze, the silver. It's wide open this year with some of the things that have happened and the member changes to rhythm and airspeed losing the nationals and there's just. Yeah, it's wide open. It's kind of like Gara 90, and it's kind of like the Gara World Meet, where everything after we retired and airspeed was still doing 8-way, and it's just everything was a bit wide open that year as well. So
full strength. Yeah, exactly.
Well, keep in mind, that Hayabusa also still cannot become complacent, right, David? Because
No, 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 no,
rhythm
no,
was close at
no.
some
No, definitely. I
point.
think we still agree that we are super stoked with a result like this. We did not see this coming. Eventually, we all in the back of our mind uh, expected it to be a little bit behind. Um, but on the other hand, we will not just rely on a result like this. We will still be working very hard. Not because you can win and you can win. If you only want to win the world championship, yeah, that's nice for the first time. But in our situation, we would like to win and show what we have learned in the last few years, and eventually win with good skydiving. So that everybody is looking at the big screen with their mouths open and thinking, "Wow, this is the best team that you can ever have." And if you only want to win with 1 point difference, then eventually you will be very surprised, because it's a coin, and if it's head or tail, you win, you lose. But that's not. And if somebody wins, if somebody else wins above what we do, then the hats off. Then I think they really deserve it. But we're not in the game just to win. We want to perform with the best, the best performance that we have.
And the best videos. And then,
Yeah.
then also on top of that, Hayabusa is also on a break until February. The
February.
other teams, I don't know what's happening with Qatar, and I don't really know, how Rhythm is planning to train. But that's a long break if you are, if you have to maintain a top level.
It's not our preference. We really like a little bit down with that. I mean, our last jump was I think in the last week of September, and our first one will be hopefully if Dubai. There is going to be a DIPC 6 in Dubai, so we've committed to that. And if that goes forward, then our first training jump will also be in Dubai. So that means a gap from October, November, December, January, 4 months or 4 months and a half that you will not be jumping. So winning in Dubai, I don't expect, for sure not, but it's just another mark in our progression to become better whenever the big championships come up. But yeah, for now, our future is very blurry, let's say.
Joey, I mean,
Just Hayabusa definitely is in the driver's seat right now, but I don't see them becoming complacent. They have got legacy that they're competing against. Okay, I mean, their camera guy is one of the most honored world champions ever, so he's not going to let them just start getting slack ass and lazy. I would think not. So they're not only competing against airspeed and rhythm and the French and whoever shows up on the day. They're competing against the legacy of the last Hayabusa team. So I think they've got plenty to compete against without worrying too much about their scores and whatever lead they might or might not have. So I wouldn't think that there's going to be any complacency or relaxing from that camp.
DIPC, so, I mean, Wind Games cancelled, World Challenge cancelled, World Meet, Indoor World Meet cancelled. Is DIPC, does it have a chance to
Christmas cancelled?
Yeah, Christmas cancelled.
Well, you know what? I don't know. It's on the calendar. It's on the calendar, and we keep our belief in very high. Because it will be nice to have something to look forward to. If that gets cancelled, then eventually then we need to stitch somewhere in another camp. And otherwise, our first camp will be in March, so that makes it even more longer. So yeah, we have our hopes very high that at least can continue.
I mean,
realistically, I don't know.
Yeah.
If anywhere has the possibility to pull off a competition, and the finances to use with all the testing and everything that might need to be done, it's Dubai. They might have the facilities. I mean, the UFC's been operating out of Abu Dhabi, and there's been some. So if it's possible that they could run a competition in accordance with the new rules and regulations. If anybody can pull it off, it would be those guys. So I'm not gonna count them out. And an outdoor competition is a little bit more feasible than trying to pack 400 competitors into a wind tunnel and all the problems with that. So I have more faith in them pulling off an outdoor competition than so who knows? But I mean, I hope it happens. I want to see it and be a part of it. So.
Well, good luck to all of us because we all want to see it happen. We all like to. At least we're beginning this weekend. This will be a live competition here at Skydive Arizona. We will see airspeed and rhythm again, XPG4 too, and we'll see Craig and Ileana and Dan BC in action, with their team. So at least we're something to look at here, and maybe that's what the near future will bring, small meets. We cannot bring 400 people together any longer at this point in time, but we can probably bring together 5, 6, 7 teams, who knows. That could be the future for, at least for now, for a little while. We will find out.
Yeah, but some international meets would not be bad because the US teams are looking to Europe and Europe is looking to the US just to have some competition against each other, because online is one thing, but actually, and because now you already see it with rhythm as well, they're jumping and twin otter and caravan, and so a little bit flying against each other and being present to see what they're up to while they're on the creepers. It gives you a little bit different style of nerves, and so I'm actually really looking forward to the first. Is this the first outdoor meet in 2020 actually?
Well, there were a few league meets. There was one in Texas, Southern California, Midwest. They had a few smaller meets, but they were outdoor at least.
None of this format actually, yeah? So not the bigger US teams coming together. I'm at least looking forward to Friday when it starts. I can't wait to see the results.
Well, let's talk again on the weekend. We have something to look at again.
On a note on the Dave's thing, and Dave can answer if this was true for his team, but when my team was competing at the highest level, our best performances always came in competition. We could never pull off when we did the first 22 average and then we did the first 23 average, those never happened in training. Those happened in competition. And so I don't know if you guys train as good as, the question is to Hayabusa, did that Hayabusa team train to the level that you performed when you broke those records?
We had it once actually. We went to Dubai 2012 with the knowing that we were stronger than airspeed. We did their nationals. We beaten them by much, and then eventually we got beaten in Dubai on the 2012 meet. So eventually, I know by heart that you need each other on a championship to perform on your best, for sure. Competition is one thing, training is another. Competition is what you want as a competitor.
Yeah, and you want to be there rubbing elbows.
Yeah,
looking mean at each other.
Yeah. Hey, good jump, but actually don't mean it.
Yeah, good luck. I hope you funnel your exit.
Yeah.
That's what good luck means. Hey,
it was like that in the old days, kind of, It's a little bit, I think it has changed a little bit, but it's still somehow there, How can it not? So,
how can it not? All right, Kurt. Well,
yep. We'll touch base on the weekend. We'll see if we have jumps available. That would be fantastic. I'll do my best.
I am on an airplane Saturday all day long, flying to Texas. But Sunday I'm available, or Saturday night I won't be available. But Sunday I can be available.
Sunday would be debriefing then, so we could do that. And I will do my best to get the jumps out.
When does the competition start? Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Friday. Okay.
So they will probably be trying to get it done on Saturday. So Sunday would be a debriefing day.
Yeah. I mean, it's like whatever. I mean, maybe Saturday night. We'll see when I get home, but I doubt it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
We'll try to find out. We know how to reach each other, so we'll try that again.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you very much, guys. And
I
have to get into the shade now. Goodbye.
Bye.